Hey, once again, I want to let you know about a resource. There are many EFT clinicians doing intensives around the country and the world, and I believe in every single one of them. Usually when people are doing intensives, they're doing a good job. But there's a great option in Northwest Arkansas, mostly in-person intensives. And these people are doing EFT co-therapy, oftentimes in male-female teams. And they do an amazing job. I have personally seen their quality, their professionalism. They're expensive, but they're really good. So if you want to, if you're interested in doing one in your own relationship or with your clients, they do 12 to 20 hours EFT co-therapy, intensives at thejoshuacenter.com. Send them an email.
All right. So, Ryan, I want to talk about it again. At the time of this recording, we're only 1 week out from the first Success and Vulnerability EFT Focus Lab, where we're going to focus on some particular aspects of the EFT model. And this year is about pivoting. Once again, that will be here in Northwest Arkansas, September 11th through the 13th, 2025, the SV EFT Focus Lab, focusing on recognizing and knowing how and when to pivot.
Welcome to the Leading Edge in Emotionally Focused Therapy with your hosts, Dr. James Hawkins and Dr. Ryan Rana. EFT is a dynamic model that humbles even the most seasoned therapists. Together, we want to come alongside you as you continually push the leading edge of your understanding and application of this wonderful model developed by Dr. Sue Johnson.
All right, y'all. Once again, we're back in our Stage 2 series with the hope and idea here just to help get a little bit more clearer on some of the aspects of Stage 2, just to help push your work a little bit further, And so what we're going to focus on today is talking about Stage 2 depth. How do we know when deep is deep enough? And how do you hover in Stage 2, particularly around Step 5? Because even though this one is intrapsychic, it does require, it's once again, we've quoted Catherine Ream on here. You do have to have deep limbic experience in order to have deep limbic revision. And so that's what we're going to focus on. Like, what does that word even deep mean? How do you know when it's deep enough? And Ryan and I just will share some of our insights on that and why it's important. All right, Ryan. So you ready for this?
I'm ready.
You ready? So I'm thinking about, as you begin thinking about this Stage 2, how deep is deep enough? How do you answer that?
Well, earlier today, you said, do you think we're ready to go on to Step 6?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, let's go back to Step 5 because it's a lot to talk about, but I think that's a metaphor too.
Yeah.
Is you keep going deep over and over and over, even if you think you got enough.
That's right.
Because repetition is key, especially with that withdrawal, because we're going against everything that life has taught them, that the cycle has taught them to survive. And so just a couple dips in the water don't get it done. So this repetition, the literature says on average withdrawal re-engagement is 3 to 9 sessions. Of course, that can vary wildly. George doesn't like it when I say that. But, it's not a bad idea to have some guidance of what Sue found all those years ago. That's pretty accurate for me.
And here's what I like. It's letting you know, hey, we got to take a couple trips around this a couple times.
And that's what I want to say, is not only are we priming the emotional experience of deepening in session, but we're priming it from session to session. So in session, the 4th time, I go deep with the withdrawer and hang out for 27 minutes in the dark place. That creates a momentum that in the 7th session with them, it's like, oh yeah, here's one other thing that happened. When I was 7, a neighbor kid did this inappropriate thing, and I've carried around with me for all these years this secret, right? It's like, that's what we're looking for, right? So and that can't happen in a time or two. It really kind of mirrors how long you've known someone in your social circles, sort of mirrors how many Stage 2 deepening sessions that have to prime and build and prime and build and prime and build. And we're installing success and vulnerability every time, which then allows more safety to dig even deeper. And there is a paradox here that when people first start to do Stage 2, they're very disoriented about, because the vast majority of the time in stage 2, the relationship is doing well.
Yep.
And so we're having to re-enter pain through the positive, right? And so just being ready for that, because your nervous system, it feels odd. Like I would have never done that had I not been trained in EFT. And I did trauma stuff, but I was trained pretty significantly as a pattern interrupter. Like if something's going well, leave it alone. Like if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Sounds like my life.
Yeah, we're having a good week. Let's don't talk about it. But that's avoidant at some level, and that applies to some things in life, though. That's not stupid.
Yeah,
just not so much to a 50-year relationship that's trying to secure the bond that's lost all its safety.
Yeah, and the key part you said is there really is something there, but you're choosing to avoid it and not talking about it in hopes to, hold off the distress.
Yeah.
So
a metaphor that comes to mind for me is like, of course, I start my sessions the same way every time, pretty much, with a little micro summary out of Tango 5, and then checking in right here, right now, today, But a lot of times, stage 2 couples are like, "We're doing great. Yeah, we're doing good. We're in a good place. We're repairing at home." When you're in stage 2, it often feels like you're done. So that's one of the markers to me that I'm in stage 2. And so then it's like, well, just whatever you want to do, therapist. And for me, I'm going to do a safety platform, and I'm going to re-enter. And to me, that feels like, you ever seen those staircases that are metal and windy? Mm-hmm. That's what it feels like to me. After the safety platform, it's like I'm backing down a very narrow, uncomfortable, shaky metal staircase down into someone's basement where it's cold and dark and spider webs. And it's somewhere they don't really want to go. It's somewhere that I don't necessarily want to go, but our theory of change informs us where we need to go.
Yep.
And so I need to visit down there 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12 times. And I think about there being like 16 stones down there, right? And a stone represents a painful memory, a painful event, something that really, really where their safety or even their life was threatened. Whether that's literally physical life or their emotional life, their relational life. And definitely I'm listening for, I'm looking for, or sometimes I'm overtly asking about in this painful stone that we're now turning over. We're just walking around turning over another stone, another stone, another stone. And I'm looking for deepest fear. I'm looking for negative view of self.
Yep.
And I'm looking for what keeps them from reaching for comfort, right? So that's what I'm prioritizing. This is a long experiential journey that's repetitive. And when I teach that, some people are like, whoa, that's not what I'm doing. I'm like, well, that's what we're supposed to be doing.
That's right.
And we're going for that intrapsychic experience. So I don't really care what's under the stone. Again, it can be I just thought of one from last week, an inappropriate contact with a neighbor when they were 6. It could be a sexual assault. It could be.
Can I throw one in?
Yeah.
Like, I've seen what's happened is sometimes forms of marginalization or oppression are down there.
There you go.
I had one client that talked about her experience being, an interracial person living in the South after coming from the Northeast. But then she brought up something she never brought up in therapy before. And she brought up her, because she's so functioning with it, but even her hearing impairment and how people... But all of that was just every time we would flip over a stone, there was more content, experiential content underneath the stone.
And we need it. That's what I'm trying to say. If someone has those experiences, we need it. We don't want to leave the stone unturned. Because when the stones are left unturned, they show up in the form of a relapse. Yeah. The cycle uses what was left down there to get them. And that's why EFT has such a low relapse rate. Is we do such deep exploration in step 5 that we build those experiential bridges into those painful places. So it's not if, but when life hurts them at that level, there's already bridges built in and out of that. So if my racial trauma is triggered, I already have 6 enactments with my partner. So now all I've got to do is go back to that same muscle memory, which I'm calling an experiential bridge. And I can talk to you about this. Hey, I felt discriminated against today at work. and here's how it affected me. Can you come be with me? And boom, now we've co-regulated this. Not to say that it's not painful,
That's right.
but it's tolerable.
That's right.
Because no one's left alone. Otherwise, that can show up in my pursuit of you or my criticism of you. Next thing you know, the very time I need comfort, I'm pushing my partner away, which is the crazy making, intolerable suffering we're trying to get away from. So going back to those stones, though.
Yeah.
So we're using sexual assault. You use ethnic, I don't know if ethnic's the right word, racial
Marginalization
trauma.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Marginalization experiences, LGBTQ+. If my walking around self or my walking around relationship is under some form of assault or rejection from society, that can become a stone that I have to then protect. I have to disown that part of me to survive, right? Which is a human thing to do. But now, therapists, your job is to come find that part of me. It can also be attachment injuries.
Yep.
That affair that happened 7 years ago that we say is not that big a deal. That means sometimes the stone is protecting it, the wound, but the wound is still there. It can be some kind of hard relationship with a parent. My father abandoned me. My stepfather was horrible. My mom was uber controlling. Like, if that's the case, we want to know now. And this is why you don't want to throw your notes away from individual attachment history. Sometimes it takes into stage 2 before we can go back and really dig into those painful events.
100%, Ryan. Thank you for that. And that reminds me, this just brought back these warm memories of Allison Lee and Gail when they were the only ones doing like certification. And they put out a video just to help make it clear. And one of the things I think it was Gail that maybe said it. And Gail was like, we just need to see that you can walk around in the basement of people's pain. It's one thing to talk about people's sadness, but can you walk around in their, not even just their pain, by the way. And this is shout out to Lisa Palmer Olson. I remember before I was doing a live and I figured it was going to be a stage 2 live. And I said, hey, you got any pointers for me, Lisa? And all she kept saying was, follow the fear. Find the fear, follow the fear, stay with the fear, have them share the fear, have them and help them get comfort in the presence of their fear. And people can, you can want to say that, but like, can you go towards the place that their body is probably not wanting to go? And can you make it safe enough, which, listen to the last episode, Ryan did a great job talking about the safety platform he uses each session to help build out that process. But I want to go back to something you said.
And we're going to go to fear in stage 1. We're going to enact fear in stage 1. But this is something very different.
100%.
It's different from touching it, enacting it, to a full exploration, walking around in the basement, finding these stones, and making sure that you're not left alone in your most vulnerable places.
Yep. And what's the worst thing that can happen to you here? What happens if people see you here? Like, what will this mean for you if people see what you see when you come into this basement of your pain? Yeah, those are very scary, hard questions there. But you said something too. I liked what you said. Maybe, I don't know if this takes us off stage 2 depth, but you said enter off the positive.
Yep.
And I know one frame that you use for that, but I want you to kind of share, like, what do you mean by enter off the, it reminds me of your El Tempo.
Oh, with longings, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. But no, I just simply mean it's awkward.
Oh, okay.
I think there's a lot of awkward turns in stage 2. It doesn't feel awkward when I'm teaching it, but when I'm in my office, I'm like, man, these folks are doing great. And so as we'll talk about in a couple of episodes from now, to go get the deepest attachment need, you have to start with positivity, right? That's where they are.
Yeah.
So then to go from you are doing great, at some point it's like, how do I find a reasonable yes but transition to get back down into, but you still remember this place, right? So even though things are better now, there's that part of you who knows what it's like.
That's right.
And now let's go into that place. So it's that awkward transition over and over and over. So we're talking about, 13, 17 sessions potentially of the couple, the relationship being in a fairly mostly secure place, which is going to show up as positivity. And we go into the pain anyway. Like, just want to prepare listeners for that's awkward in case they haven't done a lot of stage 2.
All right. Well, let's take a quick break and we'll be right back then. Do you like the content that you're hearing on this podcast? Well, we invite you to join us on successandvulnerability.com along with George Fowler and other EFT therapists and supervisors, where you get to get more thorough insight into these concepts and actually get to see it done. Once again, join us on successandvulnerability.com. So let's talk about maybe some other ways. Of course, we could keep doing our, the affect assembly ways of getting that. But, even that is I'm dating this a little bit, but, we just did the SV Live with Leanne Campbell, and she does, and I know you do this as well. I've seen George do it. Now I've adopted it. Mm-hmm. But this almost setting an actual scene also helps me understand the depth of it.
Yep.
So, for me, it would be like I might go back to, hey, especially if I'm going to say we're just starting stage 2 with the withdrawer. One of my common ways is, so I know y'all are doing so much better, and I really appreciate that. Y'all are really, you can catch the cycle now, you recognize your moves, and you can have understanding. But can you take me back? Because what we haven't really explored fully yet is, what is it like for you that the move that you were making to try and keep things down, to not get in a bigger fight, and then you need to go away for space. What I've not really, can you take me back to that place where you go away for space? And can you take me to what's happening for you in that place? That even though you're going away to get space, what starts happening inside of you, and what are the messages that get queued up? And what does this now start to say about you? Now, I know Ryan talked about this last week with the dams we believe, right? Mm-hmm. And then what I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to really stay there. It's and what does this fundamentally mean about you as a person? What does this fundamentally mean about this relationship? And can you help me understand that and see that? And I want to go into that scene. Where do you go away to? Is it to the garage? Is it where is that at? And what's happening when you're in that garage? If I could see your face, what would I see? Mm-hmm. What do you start to see in your life? Even if you played this back in a movie, take me to a scene. I've seen George do that one. Can you take me back to a past scene where this message really became something true for you, or something that you really began to believe? Can you take me to that place? And the classic one of that is, of course, one of his stage 2 pursuer softenings, where he ends up in the car with a little girl whose dad calls her the demon child. Anyway, I don't know. That's just some of my scene work. Yeah. What does that look like for you?
Yeah, well, if you have that emotional pitch that's strong, you could always go, when was the very first time you ever felt this way? Would be a sort of intrapsychic drop into that place. Scenes are very powerful, and they come with opportunity and danger, right? I think we've said that on here before, but it's worth saying again. Scenes are so powerful because we're trying to get away from that storying that looks more like a summary.
Yeah.
The disembodied story. Someone's talking about their childhood, but they're saying it in a fast-paced summary. Yeah. My stepdad was brutal, and that was this, and I don't have self-esteem, and it's that's not even stage 1. Good work yet, but definitely not stage 2. So hopefully we're making that distinct. But scenes are really powerful because they carry so much emotion.
That's true,
and they're very, very evoking.
Yeah.
So I will give you an example, but the danger of them is you don't want to go to a scene and stay there. Because I've seen people try to do EFT and stay in the scene, and now there's emotion there, but they're really talking to someone else. So we want to use that scene and then bring it alive in the moment, right? That's what's really key with scenes. But the opportunity is huge because they're so evoking, and it's hard not to have emotion for that. I mean, some people call it your inner child, the younger self. I just like to think about that version of you when your heart was broken, right? If I can go with you actually into that place, and I can get you to come with me, and I can get that really, really online, and then bring that back in the office. That's some of the very best EFT work there is. I think it's what Leanne Campbell's famous for. I think through a live I was doing, it was 2016 in Dallas. Maybe it was 15. Anyway, it was this person that had struggled with a lot of addiction. He was on session 39, had never had an emotion, had never done an enactment, right? So it was a tough case, and I was doing a live, and we made progress. This is the person who walked out.
That's the part of the story.
That's the one. And but anyway, he actually gave me a scene, which is your ideal scene, and he was talking about his experience and how he feels in relationship with people, both with his partner who was to his right, and really his whole life. And he used an image. He said, when we were kids, we would play hide and go seek. All right, and then I would get a great hiding spot, and it would be in a closet, and it would be so good no one would come find me. And a big part of me, that felt good because I didn't lose. Then another part of me started to go, where is everybody? So he started to lean into his loneliness and all the meaning that has been created with his model of self. And then he threw me some pretty tough blocks. And I didn't do a great job with it, honestly. I was learning for sure. And so Leanne was watching this with me. And I said, Leanne, how would you have handled this? And Leanne has this big smile, but she's actually probably one of the most aggressive therapists in the world. And she gets away with it, which is really unfair. She says, I would have said, okay, thank you. So I'm going to join you right now in that closet. You see, so she's going to enter the scene and bring that alive. So that would be a poignant way. That your ideal scene is the one that your client gives you. But, I think about the last withdrawal re-engagement case I did. This is a while back now. I think I've mentioned this here before. But this person, when life was at its hardest, he would kind of hide out in a loft in his house, right? And he would put, just like I'm looking at James here with big headphones on, that's what he would do. And he would turn on certain music. And because life was completely out of control, abusive family, stuff with siblings, just plates crashing. It was just awful. And the loft was actually a place of comfort for him. But then we get into what were you comforting? And if you didn't have that loft, how would life have been? Right? And even as you remember the words of that song, what comes there? So entering that scene over and over and over, and even in like session 8 of withdrawal re-engagement with this person, things were pretty static, pretty good, stable. And I would just say, so if it's okay with you, I want to go back to that loft. Can you close your eyes? Are you on the floor? So you're looking for somatic cues. And what does it smell like? Is it hot or is it cold? And as you open your eyes, what do you see? A computer screen, a stereo, and anything else. And the room was small, which felt good, right? Because I had 3 walls really close to me and nothing can get me. Oh, okay. So this is a scary place, right? So we're dropping into that spot and just exploring everything you thought about, everything you felt, what comes to mind, what do you remember, right? And so just enactments and live emotion are everywhere. And I'm just privileging and prioritizing when it was at its worst, what thoughts come to mind about who you are, or what's your worst fear that might be true about you, right? So inadequate, irrelevant, not worth fighting for, right? So these really sort of deep core shame, which is different than that reactive stage 1 shame. And we're just converting them into enactments and finishing missions, right? And then the fear of reaching. When you're in this loft experience in life, even now, and life is out of control, and your body is full of the messages that you don't matter, nobody's coming because you're not worth it. If your partner could see that version of you, do you sense that they would want you? Or what might they do? They wouldn't want me, right? So right back into enactments. So that's really the way I like to think about step 5 right there.
And another way, just if it helps the view, I want to come back to that too. I want to go back to this for a moment. You said something earlier, and I want to make sure our viewers get to hear this clearly. Let's talk about that scene conversion, about when you stay too long at a scene. Now, I'll just give mine, even the classic one, and this might not be the exact scene, but there was a while, for maybe 3 lives in a row, everyone described a pit that they get stuck in, and every attempt they make to get out, it's like either dirt keeps slipping or they keep getting shoved back in.
It's the new definition of trauma right there.
There we go.
Yeah.
And what I would try to do, so this is vulnerable because I want some consultation from a peer here. I would do things. So that's that scene. But what breaks my heart is that's what's playing out for you in real life. That even right now, it's like a part of your body is like, I'm not sure if I turn and share this, is the dirt just going to slip out from under me and I end up back in the same place and more humiliated? Is that feeling like it's a true experience for you right now? Like I can kind of see your body fighting this for a moment? So even right here, right now, could we invite your partner to see you right here, right now, as you feel that like this isn't going to work? This is going to be embarrassing. This is going to be humiliating if you see this version of me. Would that be a conversion for you?
Love it.
Okay.
Because it's still happening. That's my phrase that I'm listening to you. It's still happening.
Exactly.
It didn't just happen to you then. It's still happening. This is what the cycle does to you. This is what life does to you. Right. So just lean into that person's experience. The more you can get it alive, the deeper you go, the more stones you're turning.
That's right.
Right. And I think about 16 stones. Right. And I'm just making that number up roughly because we got, 3 to 10 sessions. If we can find 2 new stones a session, man, the chances of this relationship relapsing go so far down.
Yeah. So,
I love the conversion, that it's continuing to happen. This is what the cycle does to you. I even love your process that I'm learning from you from last time, like stage 2 deadly attachment messages create stage 1 raw spots.
Ooh.
Right?
Ooh.
Like I'm vulnerable to that.
That's good.
Yeah. So I'm a tall person, James. So if you're my partner and you start saying, you're kind of a short person, that doesn't bother me. I start to think you're psychotic, right? Because I have a mirror. I'm tall, okay? But in other areas, maybe I'm concerned that maybe I'm not smart enough. And so now in stage 2, this stone, which has never been unturned, which means I've always been left alone in this place where I question my intelligence.
That's it.
Now I'm very, very sensitive to the messages I get from your protection moves in stage 1 around my intelligence.
That's good.
Right.
That's good.
And so those two have this relationship, which is why you don't want to miss them in stage 1. The partner needs to know, hey, my partner has a raw spot in this area. I need to find a way when I get frustrated not to say things that might come across like I think they're not very smart.
That's good.
In stage 2, though, I need the therapist to come find that stone.
That's right.
And to come say, this is that place. This happened to you. Your teacher said this. Your father said this. You tried your hardest. You got a bad grade on that test. Right? So just entering and overturning that stone and then getting your partner to come in there.
That's it.
And just to speak love into that place, to secure it.
That. And let me tell you about an example when I didn't convert it well. Shout out to Chad, who was giving me consultation. And I had went to a scene with a pursuer to her younger version of self with her mom. And I tried to do something like where I had that little girl share. And Chad rightfully said, good work, James. But you didn't create a space for the partner to be with her in the present moment. Yeah. So I think that was good.
Beautiful. I love it.
So what?
No, it's just really key. Because if you get stuck in the scene, I didn't answer your question 5 minutes ago, sorry. If you get stuck in the scene, what can happen is you can just get stuck in scene content. So scene content is better than other content, but it's still content. I don't want to just interview about, what all happened for you as a kid and how you felt about your stepdad endlessly, right? Then it becomes like individual trauma and it never gets converted back to co-regulation. So we need to bring it back alive at some point today.
All right. And as we get ready to close, I just want to share one more from George. It wasn't a scene work, but what I liked is George had this rhythm of using reflections, validations, and these evocative questions while he kept going over the meaning and experience. So what he would do was it would kind of like, and so what does that mean in this place about you or in this relationship? And then when they would give an answer, George would be like, and that makes so much sense. I get the good reasons why your body has this experience. I get the good reasons why you do what you do. And he would even reflect back. And I even see right now as you're answering me and you're telling me about this, how hard your body is really working in this place where you've always been left alone. Then he would ask his next evocative question right off of that meaning. And even what is that like, even right now, as you kind of get the message, or the tape start playing that says, you're just not good enough. What is that even like? Then he would get the experience question again. And even right behind that, he would do his reflections and validations and evocative question again and lead right. And what does that mean? Like if this hopelessness could speak, what does it say about you? Well, I'm hopeless. I'm the reason why this relationship's going to come to an end. I'm going to lose everything. And he would just keep using that rev and me. That's what I kind of called it if you've ever trained with me. And I do stage 2. I do a lot of revving between the M and the E and the affect assembly. So just another tool and example. Because once again, I just want to reiterate, we're so thankful for you listening to Ryan and I on this podcast, and George and the other guests when they pop on. But I just want to make sure that you all know that you have options. That's one of the the beautiful things that I love about what Sue did with this model. She didn't create a model and say, you have to say it this way every time. You have to do it this way all the time. But she did give us a map to follow, and she gave us space for creativity as we follow a map that's been proven to the APA gold standard. So you all, thank you so much. We just want to keep encouraging you as you go walk down into the basements with people and you turn over these stones, because I want to make sure I reiterate again. It's not that you turn over every stone, but you help them gain bravery and strength as they turn over stones. That the more that they turn over stones, they become stronger to face their fears, to look into the unknown places that maybe have these scary messages. And what happens is, as they build that confidence with you, as they build that strength with not even just you, as they build that confidence and strength with themselves, that they can go to these places and it doesn't destroy them. As they build confidence and strength with their partner, that my partner can and is willing to be there with me, and to bring love to a place that has felt maybe condemning, ostracizing, oppressive, scary, overwhelming, that as they build that, they then are able to take that strength from the stones that they've worked with to apply to other stones in their life as they come alive. So we thank you so much to allow us to help share our insights here, to help you get better at being on the leading edge and helping your clients succeed on their leading edges in life. We appreciate you.
Thank you for listening. We hope this experience helps you push the leading edge in your work to help people connect with themselves and with each other. Please subscribe to our podcast and leave us a 5-star review. You can contact us at pushtheleadingedge@gmail.com, and you can follow us on our Facebook page at Push the Leading Edge. You can follow Ryan on Facebook at Ryan Rana Professional Training, and on his website, ryanranatraining.com. You can follow James on Facebook and Instagram at DocHawkLPC. You can also check out his website, DocHawkLPC.com.